Welcome back to Palembang for the 11th round of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Indonesia. My name's Paul Mayling. Thanks for joining us today for our live broadcast, as always, for the MX2 and MXGP qualifying races. MXGP is up next, 20 minutes plus 2 laps. They're currently out on track. Just having that last look, that sighting lap. But we are in Indonesia, made up of some 17,000 islands, 30-odd degrees, very humid, a very warm sauna-like breeze blowing around this Palembang circuit as well. Brand new facility here, just about 1,500 meters long or thereabouts. And it's a red clay, compact dirt. We had a rainstorm, if you're just joining us for the first time, just before the MXGP time training session, and it left the track very, very wet indeed, but it is drying out now. MX2 have just been out for their qualifying race, but it'd be interesting to see what these guys make of it here. But anyway, a few moments ago, Lisa Lehnen was down on the grid, caught up with a couple of riders. One of those was Adam Coles, an Australian rider here as a wildcard, and Eero Lusbo riding for A1M Husqvarna, a teammate for Tano Leok this weekend.
Hello and welcome to the MXGP qualifying race. Still pretty hot conditions. We did have some rain earlier, but it's very, very muggy indeed, as we saw from the MX2 race. Now, I'd like to speak to Eero Lusbo, who usually rides the EMX2T Championship, the 2 strokes, but you're here in MXGP. Just tell us, is this your first GP?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to come. Like a local Husqvarna dealer came up with this plan, and yeah, I just used this opportunity, and it's my 3rd GP, I guess. Yeah, so yeah.
So what are you aiming for from this weekend here in Indonesia and next weekend, I guess? So it's pretty tough conditions to be riding MXGP for you. Yeah,
it's really nice. It's really hot and humid, but yeah, I want to just follow as much as possible the MXGP guys, and yeah, give my best, and that's it.
Best of luck, Eero. Thank you. Now, the next rider I'd like to speak to is Adam Coles. We may not recognise him in MXGP. It's because he's wildcarding this weekend. You're an Australian rider, and this is actually was a last-minute ride for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, last-minute ride. So finished work on Tuesday, straight on the plane on Thursday, and here we are now.
So, I mean, we're here in Indonesia, I guess not too far from Australia. Are you perhaps more used to these conditions?
Oh, yes and no. It's winter back at home, so it's 10 degrees most days, raining, so it's a bit of an eye-opener, the humidity and everything, so yeah, it's taken its toll a little bit.
And just quickly, what's the level like here in MXGP compared to Australia? How are you finding it so far?
Oh, it's next level.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're a little bit faster, so we'll just take it as a learning curve and go from there.
Well, good to have you here, Adam. Best of luck. Thank you. Adam Coles there. All right, good luck to all the guys here. It's time for MXGP qualifying race.
Kembali ke pos-pos Anda masing-masing.
One last look at the circuit then ahead of the MXGP qualifying race for the MXGP riders. Circuit 1,520 meters long, 4 timing sectors. The first one coming out of, or going into, I should say, turn 4, the entry towards the corner with the first wave section. And then in the middle, after the second section and iPhone jump, left, the exit there. Coming back in the opposite direction, midway into the straight for the city turn. And then from there to the finish line. We just saw Tim Geiser, the championship leader, just taken on some fluids there a moment ago. It is hot. It is very hot and humid here today. But here's how the riders go to the line. Free practice, it was Arminas Jasikonis who was fastest, a 1:27.7 from Geiser, Fever and Koldenhoff. But the riders really only had 5 or 7 minutes or so into session before the rain came down heavily. Gauthier Paulin putting a time in quickly, a 1:28.0. He was 0.06 of a second quicker on his Monster Energy Wilbo Yamaha than the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna of Arminas Jasikonis. Team HRC's Tim Geiser was 3rd, about 0.3 further back. And then the standing construct KTM of Glenn Koldenhoff was next, ahead of the Monster Energy Yamaha of Jeremy Seward. Then it was Anstie. He was on our MXGP TV studio show as well today. Along with him was Mitchell Harrison and Livia Lancelot. But Anstie goes to line 6, Roman Febvre 7, Arno Tonus 8, Paul Jonas 9, and Jeremy Van Horbik, the Honda SR Motor Blues Honda rider, goes to line 10, then of Brian Bogus. And then Ivo Monticelli and the rest of the guys. Arno Tonus, his biggest fan, keeping him cool. And Paul Jonas wondering whether he needs to go to the bathroom or not, but decides to give that brow a quick wipe instead, packing it there just in case. But the sun is beating down on this racetrack. It is slightly cloudy overhead, and it's very, very muggy indeed. Hoping to get off those start blocks in rapid fashion, the 128 of Ivo Monticelli. The Italian having a pretty decent season in MXGP this year, 14th overall so far. Got a 4th in qualifying in his home round Trentino. Came away there 5th overall as well, didn't he, that day? There's AJ, Alminas Jasikonis, pushing his rockstar energy Husqvarna to the line.
Jasikonis kemudian dari tim Honda, berikutnya ada di sana.
Second at the Latvian Grand Prix in qualifying for the Lithuanian. Gauthier Paulin already in position. Look, the Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha rider, so the 21 and the 27 lining up middle of the right-hand side as we look at it. Left as A lineup, pretty much a straight line to the inside blocks here, those Monster Energy cones. Geiser goes to the left of the box, or the right as he lines up for Team HRC. There is Gauthier Paulin. Very tight in the championship between 3 Yamahas. Siwa third, Tonus and Paulin, of course, the 2 teammates, tied on points in 4th. So a good qualifying race is essential here for those 2 in terms of gate pick. Roman Fevre starting to ride himself back towards the top 10. Had 2 qualifying race wins. One of those at the start of the year, one on his 3rd ride back from injury. That was in Russia. But, Tim Geiser, Team HRC, very, very focused. Currently 83 points clear of Tony Cairoli. Of course, Cairoli absent, Hurling's absent, along with, well, Team Kawasaki, of course. Lieber and DeSalle. No Bobryshev, no Searle. Searle actually picking up that factory ride. We'll see him in Lockett in 3 weeks' time. Arno Tonus, Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha, teammate to Gauthier Paulin. Takes his place on the grid. Lining up alongside him will be Andero Luzbo on the A1M Husqvarna, riding 621. He went to line 14th, actually, just behind his teammate, Tano Leok. There is Jeremy Siwa. Joked that he was probably going to get changed up in his room and then walk down to the waiting zone, ready to go, a.k.a. schoolboy mode. But he bottled it at the last minute, took his gear bag out to the paddock area in the end. There's AJ. Are we going to see him spring to life here, pick up his first qualifying race win of the season? Haven't had too many quali race winners this year, actually. There's PJ, his teammate. Geiser, of course, he's got 4. Tony Cairoli absent, he has 3. Fevre has 2. Of course, Jeffrey Hurlings nailed one as well, didn't he? In Latvia. Anyway, MXGP qualifying is about to get underway here. The fly racing 15-second board goes up for their first time of the weekend. 4:10 here local time, so we're about 5 hours ahead of Central Europe. 6 on GB. Probably middle of the night if you're USA, and probably a bit later than that if you're in Australia. But the gate is about to drop here. A clean getaway. Geiser just puts the squeeze on Koldenhoff, and is that Anstey around the outside? Yes, it is. And Brian Bogus with a decent start as well, but it's going to be Geiser who leads going into turn 2. Man down, that's Jonas. Pulls a 180 going into turn 2. Long ruts at the end of the straight past pit lane. But it's Geiser who leads. The 4 of Tonus got himself in the second. Koldenhoff alongside his teammate takes 3rd away from the Brit in 3rd. Anstey is 4th. The rider in white on that Honda behind him is Jeremy Van Horvik, number 89. And then Bogus with the red top just behind those guys in 6th place. Jeremy Siwa making a decent start. He's 7th. Paulin 8th. Fevre 9. Monticelli 10. Jasikonis back in 11th place ahead of Lewis Stewart of Australia. There is Paulin, number 21, and then Siwa, then Fevre. So Paulin has found his way past the factory Yamaha of the Swiss, number 91, early on the lap. Oh, see what just slides into that rut. It's very hard, pack and slick, but Koldenhoff coming under attack here. So the Yamaha of Tonus splitting the two KTM standing construct riders. Deep ruts into this final corner. Slick on the landing as well, but that's the Monster Energy finish line jump. It's Tim Geiser who leads the way. Koldenhoff there in second, Tonus third, Anstey fourth. The rider in white there is Van Horbeke, then Bogus, then Paulin, then Fevre. Then it was Seewer, but Jasikonis runs up the inside, goes wide on the exit of the turn. So has AJ been able to stay ahead, or has Seewer just managed to wrestle it back? If we stay on this shot long enough, we'd probably just work it out, but there's Koldenhoff. He's in second. Tim Geiser out of sight there at that turn. Currently leading the way. It's Tonus, Anstey, Van Horbeke, Bogus up the inside. But around the outside was Fevre. So Fevre's found his way back past Paulin. There he is, but in the background. Interesting to keep an eye on that little battle actually behind these guys, because there is the Yamaha of Fevre going inside Brian Bogus, the second of the Team HRC riders. You see how hard and polished that clay-baked takeoff is before they launch into this jump, the biggest jump on the racetrack. And Fevre does go up the inside of Bogus. So Fevre then on a charge, but takes a slow line, gets caught in a little rut there. Both riders scrub, but he'll get close down here. But then he takes the inside. Oh, bar to bar, and he has to be brave here, but Bogus a little bit braver than the French rider. You see the difference in lines there. A little bit of a split section out of that final turn. So Fevre back down to seventh then. But it's Geiser who leads, a 35.8, a 1:35.8 on this opening lap. 3 seconds clear of Glenn Koldenhoff on the standing construct KTM. Arno Tonus is third. Fourth is Max Anstey. Fifth is Van Horbeke. Brian Bogus sixth. Midway past pit lane, end of the straight now. Watch this. Fevre thought he would try and lean on Bogus, but Bogus had the inside line and the better line coming out of the turn in terms of the rhythm section. Wheels barely off the ground there, but you launch it. Fevre just coming up short. But here is the 2.59 of Glenn Koldenhoff. There's Geiser just ahead of him out of that exit turn. 35.8 for the Honda rider. Koldenhoff second, Tonus third. Just here, number 4. The 99, Max Anstey in fourth place. Giving chase, looking for a way through on the Swiss rider, and just losing a little bit of ground. In white, just behind him, is Van Horbeke. He's in fifth, Bogus 6, Fevre 7, Seewer now 8, Paulin 9, Jasikonis up to 10, Ivo Monticelli is in 11th place. And then we've got Tano Leok 12, Andera Lusbo, his teammate 13, Lewis Stewart 14, Adam Cole's up to 15, ahead of Bruno Darius Vaponen from Tenerife. In 15th place, Aldi Lazzaroni, Eduardo Andrade of Mexico, Paul Jonas and Farhan Hendra, and Jordi van Nobelen. Man down, 2 men down, Seewer and Paulin. So not sure how that happened. They were in different ruts there. So they lose out. They drop down to 11th and 12th now. There is Paulin in 11th place. That'll get his goat. He'll just try and get his head down now and just stop larking about and try and pull back some positions here. But the 1:34.8, Tim Geiser looking comfortable in these conditions so far. Difficult to see where that threat's going to come from, isn't it, at the moment? 14 minutes to go. Plus 2 laps in this MXGP qualifying race. The other gap of 4.2 seconds at the start of this third lap. Quite technical, the circuit, after that rain. The whole array of lines. That's where Paul and Siwa fell a moment ago, in that left-hander. Here's Tonus and Anstey still continuing to battle over that third place. Guys are 35.0, almost in the 34, so a couple tenths shy of his lap previous. 5.5 seconds between him and Koldenhoff. Anstey, his head down look, going after the number 4. Havano Tonus. Not sure into Wilbo Yamaha ahead of him. He's holding a nice tight line, but maybe too tight, because Anstey looked like he got a better run around the outside as he tries to climb the wall past pit lane. And then squares off the next right-hand turn. Tonus knows he's there, though. Keeps him to the outside. Oh, good drive there from Anstey over the Dragon's back, and he does go by and gets himself up in a third. So standing constructs, KTM riders. Second and third then. Tonus will just be happy with anywhere in the top 5. Give himself a good gate pick. Not going to be the easiest place to overtake on, but we don't know what the weather's going to be either yet this weekend, because the last few days, since we arrived here on Tuesday, some saying rain every day on the weather forecast. Fevre going after Van Horebeke. 2 former Yamaha teammates. Fevre just coming up short there. But finally the rain did come today, a couple of little outbursts. But 12 minutes plus 2 to go. Van Horebeke coming in to land over the finish line jump. Takes a wider sweep through that final turn, back onto the start straight, 100 meters long. Nice turn there from Fevre. Short and sweet to the inside. And quickly into 5th place. Meanwhile, guys, almost 7 seconds clear of Koldenhoff at the head of the field. Anstey right there in 3rd. Tonus 4, Fevre 5, Van Horebeke 6, Bogus 7. There he is. Jasikonis now 8 for Rockstar Energy Asfana, the 27. And then behind them, we've got Ivan Monticelli, the 3rd of the standing construct KTMs. And then Gauthier Paulin, Jeremy Siwa, still, well, 10th and 11th now. Teno Leop and his A1M Husqvarna teammate, Antero Lusbo, wildcarding this weekend. They are line astern in 12th and 13th. Lewis Stewart, the Australian, wildcarding this weekend. He's in 14th, ahead of Paul Jonas, Adam Coles, Bruno Darius Vapanen, Eduardo Andrada of Mexico, Jordi Van Nobelen, Aldi Lazzaroni, and Farnan Hendra. Guys are riding with supreme confidence at the moment. Him, Team HRC, Honda working very, very hard. We already saw earlier on in the season, places like Matchley Basin, for instance, how good that bike and the combination of him and Tim on it was starting to work. We saw it in Portugal. We saw it in Trentino. Here's Fevre, the inside of a back marker. So Farnan Hendra just feeling the elbows of Fevre as he goes through. Here's Fevre. Montreal Yamaha. Through the second wave section. And then just having a check up. The sun's starting to come out again. You see it just beaming down on the hard polished surfaces on those takeoffs and landings. You'll see it here as well, just on the backside of this jump, how hard it is there. But probably the longest jump on the track. You don't have to triple all the way over. You can go double, single. Make that inside line. Fevre looking to go after Tonus. A couple of lappers just coming into play. Fevre deals with them. Getting ready to hit the line for the 6th time. Guys are still 7 seconds clear. Bit awkward through there for the number 4. Arno Tonus. You see Fevre is getting quicker. 1:35.3 to the 37.5. If the guy's chasing down, you can see it's just gaining every straight, every corner. Sun will be out on the riders' backs. So they head into those corners, they'll be feeling it. There was a little bit of cloud cover at the start of the race, so at least from that side, conditions are a little bit more forgiving. But of course, they've got 2 30-minute plus 2 races tomorrow. Might want to be saving that just a little bit of something ahead of those races as well. No point in blowing it all away in the qualifier here. Tonus just having a little bit of fun out there. He triples, look, still makes the inside. Fevre goes 2-1, follows him through into that right-hander. Done well to bridge the gap. Over the little scrub hill there. So Geisser already over the line of 35.5. Koldenhoff goes 35.2, personal best for him. 6.6 seconds behind. Anstey 35.26, so 4 hundredths slower than his teammate. Those two about 2 seconds apart. And this little tasty battle between the 4 and the 4.61, Tonus and Fevre. Monster Energy Wilbo Yamaha against Monster Energy Yamaha. Fevre goes to the inside. And he'll look to try and cut across the back at the 4 here on the exit of the turn. He does, but you've got to go single, then short little tabletop. Artificial carved inside line just to get those guys over to the inside. Adam Coles moves out of the way. Lets these guys get on with it. See the back ends just lined up as they come out of those turns where you're going from traction to hard baked clay. Jumps aren't overly big here. This is the biggest one on the racetrack in terms of distance. Fevre goes to the inside. As they hit this left-hand turn, Geisser already over the line in the opposite corner. 1:34.8. 7 seconds clear now of Koldenhoff. Anstey still third. Good showing from the standing construct riders. Tonus. Not really upping his game, just doing enough to stay ahead of Fevre. 36.1, 35.6. He knows he's got the threat behind him. Deep ruts at the end of the straight, where it was heavily ripped and then obviously rained. But Fevre got good drive out of that turn, but he goes to the inside this time. And shows Tonus a wheel. Tonus just staying ahead of the Frenchman. This battle for 4th, remember. And yes, it's only a qualifying race, but satellite Yamaha versus factory Yamaha. Fevre making a hand gesture there. I don't think it was a roll-off, was it? He looked across towards pit lane as if to say, can't overtake, trying everything here. But this time he gets alongside Tonus. But then both riders come up short deliberately. But Fevre finally finds a way through in a 4th place. So his persistence paid off in the end then. But it would have been a frustrating few laps for the former world champion, Romain Febvre. Two KTMs separated by about a second and a half, Koldenhoff and Anstey. Similar gap between the two Yamahas, but it's now Febvre who's up to 4th. Tonus now 5th. Monticelli is down at 8th because Seawer has found his way through. Paulin has also passed Brian Bogus this time around as well.
Dan masih terus bermaju dengan speed di angka 1 menit 50.
So 3.5 minutes plus 2 to go. Tim Geiser leads, 7.5 seconds clear of Glenn Koldenhoff and Max Anstey. Romain Febvre here, 4.61. He's in 4th, Tonus there, number 4. Just in the background, look, finds himself in 5th place. Seawer up to 6th, Monticelli 7th, Van Horbik 8th. Slight bobble there for Tonus. This was a moment. Coming into land. All right, there's your race leader, Tim Geiser. 2 corners from the line. Oh, a bit of a bobble there as he came into that turn. Looked like he lost the front end. Deep grunt of that CR450F, CRF 450RW of Tim Geiser. Upper body just getting a bit of a lean on, just to correct there, just to stay balanced as he reached the end of the straight. As inside ruts working in the MX2 qualifying race. Obviously there was a lot of water on the track, so this, even through here, was very slick, very greasy. Landings were very, very greasy, but you see the corner speed that Geiser is carrying now through those turns. You're getting that optimum traction level back, just like it would have been right at the start of the time practice session before it rained. Up on the pegs all the way through. Nice. No changes on this lap then. Geiser, Koldenhoff, Anstey, Febvre, Tonus and Seawer. But then, having said that, Paulin has gone back past Monticelli into 7th place. So Monticelli down to 8th. Up to 9th is Bogus, and up to 10th is Chasikonis, because Van Horbik now finds himself in 11th place. And Anstey has found his way past Koldenhoff on lap 11. So 3 laps to go. Here's Tim Geiser. It's going to be Anstey who hits the line in 2nd now, 8.6 seconds behind the Slovenian. Not sure if we have that anywhere or not, but it would have been somewhere in the last sector. So 1 or 2 changes. Jonas also finding his way up into 14th for the pass on Lewis Stewart. Jonas ahead of this group, look. Andero, Lisbo and Tenor Leok just ahead of him, but Jonas fell going into turn 2. Bike was facing the wrong way. Here's Andero Lisbo on the A1M Husqvarna in light blue. Of course, normally rides in the 2-stroke championship at home. Well, in Europe, at home. Got an opportunity to line up here this weekend, so he took it. Geiser looking very, very much in control. .251, just getting lapped there as well. Bruno Darius Papanen from Spain, Spanish island of Tenerife. Here's Jonas, just passing by now. He'll still go to the line in 13th place, but he would have been hoping to challenge in these guys at the front end and a decent gate pick, but good news is with just 21 riders on the gate, he'll be able to still line up pretty decently anyway. So 2 to go, sun comes out once again. Geiser for Team HRC 7.7 seconds clear of Anstey.
Masih terus berusaha.
Koldenhoff now 4 seconds behind his teammate.
Iya, di bawah daripada
See Jonas there, look, caked in mud down to one side where he went down right at the start of the race. Probably had to deal with wet, muddy gloves as well as a result of that early on. Wow, big burst of sunshine. Hit the contrast buttons. Been tangoed. Well, a big panic ref for somebody out there. Anyway, Jonas having to yield as Geiser comes through on his penultimate lap. Here's Max. Max Anstey, standing construct KTM. As I said earlier, at the top of the broadcast, he was on the studio show on MXGP TV today. Want to re-tune in and find out what Anstey said ahead of this Grand Prix and about his season so far, then of course you can watch that on demand. And if you tune in next week in Samurai, you can watch it live or on demand a little later on if you like. Nice 50% offer going on for those who don't have it. That also includes the Monster Energy Motocross and Nations end of the year as well. It's worth a 50% discount for that alone. And you get to watch every race of the season so far. You can watch all the qualifying races, every lap of every race, from all the categories as well. Put in the country in the search engine, job done. Boom, brings the whole page up. Studio shows, news highlights. Behind the Gate, the 26-minute magazine that we launch on a Tuesday, every Tuesday after each Grand Prix. Anyway, we're into the final lap. Here's Koldenhoff around the outside, 2:59 on that standing construct KTM. Good showing for the two teammates. Monticelli, the third member of the team, in 8th place, just behind Gauthier Paulin. So I'm sure Tim Matthijs will be sat at home just going, yeah, that's what we want, boys. Anyway, here's Tim Geiser, 2 corners from home. Just a city scrub jump here. It's left, right, the run towards the finish line. Tim Geiser on the verge of making it qualifying win number 5. Here he is. Tim Geiser wins a qualifying race here then in Indonesia in comfortable style. Takes a quick look back to see who was in second, and it was Max Anstey. 11.2 seconds down in the end, and then Koldenhoff should be next in third, and is. Give you the rundown in just a moment. These riders coming in over the line thick and fast, as you can see on the right-hand side, but there's Arno Tonis. 5th for the Monster Energy Volvo Yamaha rider, but Tim Geiser, Team HRC, was your winner. 11.2 seconds clear of Max Anstey on the standing construct KTM. His teammate Glenn Koldenhoff was 3rd, Vevra 4th for Monster Energy Yamaha. Behind Tonis, we had Jeremy Sira, Gauthier Paulin, the first of the Rockstar Energy, Gauthier Paulin, sorry, the first of the, Gauthier Paulin in 7th place. Couple of positions behind his teammate. Anyway, here is Tim Geiser with Lisa.
Tim Geiser, 5th qualifying race win. You look really comfortable under these conditions and totally in control. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, exactly. I was enjoying out there. Actually, it's quite hot. Even if we are now at 5 in the evening, 5 in the afternoon. But anyway, humidity is high. But I had good start, and then I was really make a little gap and then control the race. So I was enjoying out there.
Good luck for tomorrow. Thanks, Tim.
4:35 local time, but Tim Geiser cruises to qualifying race victory here for the 5th time. This one in Indonesia, so adds to the wins in Great Britain, Trentino, France, and Germany last time out. So first time he's gone back-to-back. On pole, Team HRC lining up first ahead of the races tomorrow here in Indonesia. Official confirmation then, Tim Geiser for Team HRC, your winner. Max Anstey and Glenn Koldenoff from Standing Construct was second and third. Roman Fevra fourth, Montrose Yamaha. Montrose Wilbo Yamaha, Arnold Tonus was fifth, and Siwa was sixth, Paul and seven, Monticelli was eighth, Jessiconis was ninth on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, and then Brian Bogus 10. Jeremy Van Horbeek faded to 11th in the end for Honda SR Motor Blues. Teno Leo on the A1M Husqvarna was 12th. Paul Jonas, Lewis Stewart, Andera Losbo, Adam Coles, Eduardo Andrade, Bruno Darius Verpainen, Aldi Lazzaroni, and Jordi Van Nobelen. But Tim Geiser making it look pretty easy in that qualifying race here. Grab yourself an advantage, pull up a tree, why don't you? Is it me, or is that I look a little bit on the wonky side? Anyway, here's the highlights. MXGP qualifying, centre of the gate, Tim Geiser managed to get his wheels just ahead. Anstey went around the outside, so too did Bogus. At the inside, though, were Tonus and Koldenoff. But then, that was a big crash for Paul Jonas. Either caught the back end of somebody or a hard-edged rut, but it just snatched the handlebars from out of his hand, and the Latvian was sent sprawling to the deck. Geiser led, though, Tonus. Koldenoff just managed to ease aside Anstey, and then he went after Tonus. Tonus made that slight bobble. Fevra was on the charge, moved his way past Bogus. And then these two, didn't see what happened between Siwa and Paulan, but Paulan was quickest away. Anstey then went by Tonus to move himself into third. And another slight mistake there from Tonus allowed Fevra to close in. Fevra then eventually went past the number 4 to take over fourth. That's where he would stay. Anstey eventually found himself in second. But it was a win for Tim Geiser for the 5th time this year in MXGP qualifying. Right, let's take a look at some of the best moments then from that qualifying race, shall we? Look a little bit like this. So that's all we've got time for today on MXGP TV. We will be back tomorrow, of course, for MX2 Race 1, 12 o'clock midday local time here. So make sure you check your clocks and do the necessary. But we are 5 hours ahead of Central European time, 6 hours ahead of the UK. And obviously use that as your benchmark for everywhere else in the world. Anyway, my name's Paul Malin. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye for now.